Beneath the flickering lights of an ordinary school, a chilling tale of dread and suspense unfolds. Imagine, if you will, a place of learning, a sanctuary of knowledge and youthful energy. The school, a bustling hub of activity, is filled with the vibrant chatter of students, the echoing steps of teachers navigating the corridors, and the usual humdrum of a typical day. In the classrooms, students huddle in groups, sharing notes and laughter, while others sit engrossed in their books, their minds wandering through the realms of knowledge. Teachers, the guides in this journey of learning, weave their magic, turning complex equations into simple logic, and historical events into riveting tales. Outside these classrooms, the hallways tell their own stories. Lockers adorned with photos, scribbles, and stickers stand as silent witnesses to the ever-changing parade of youth. The air is filled with the scent of chalk, textbooks, and the faint aroma of cafeteria food wafting through the air. The school bell, a punctual sentinel, rings at regular intervals, orchestrating the rhythm of the day. Students shuffle between classes, each transition a flurry of activity, marked by hurried footsteps, slammed locker doors, and the occasional shouted greeting. Yet, within this ordinary setting, the familiar becomes unfamiliar. The mundane turns menacing. A school, a place of safety and security, can transform into an arena of terror. The ordinary school day takes a sinister turn, the routine setting the stage for the unexpected. As the hours pass, an eerie change begins to seep into the school. The lively chatter of students begins to fade, replaced by hushed whispers. The teachers' voices lose their confident timbre, replaced by a tone of unease. The familiar echo of footsteps in the corridors becomes a disquieting silence. As the day wore on, an unsettling silence descended on the school, unbeknownst to the students and teachers within. The darkened halls, once filled with life and laughter, now held a chilling secret. A secret that would soon reveal itself in the most terrifying way imaginable. Suddenly, the shrill sound of the lockdown alarm echoed through the corridors, bringing an abrupt halt to the humdrum of school life. It was a sound no one expected to hear on a day as ordinary as this. It was a sound that sent shivers down the spine of every student, every teacher, every janitor, and every soul within the school's walls. The once bustling hallways filled with laughter, whispers, and the clatter of books and lockers suddenly fell into an eerie silence. The students, previously engrossed in their lessons, now peered at each other with wide-eyed fear. The teachers, once pillars of strength, looked just as bewildered, their faces paling at the unexpected disruption. This was no drill. The seriousness of the situation was evident in the tense faces of the staff, their usual calm replaced by a palpable anxiety. The classroom doors were hastily locked, the blinds drawn, and students directed to huddle in corners, away from the windows. The school had transformed into a fortress, a sanctuary against an unknown threat. As minutes turned into an hour, the initial shock gave way to a gnawing fear. Whispers of, "What's happening?" and "Why are we in lockdown?" filled the air, only to be hushed by stern glances from the teachers. The questions hung heavily in the room, unanswered, intensifying the sense of dread. The atmosphere was thick with uncertainty, each passing second amplifying the suspense. The once familiar surroundings of the school now seemed alien and hostile. The cheerful artwork on the walls took on a sinister hue, the ticking clock echoed ominously, and the silence outside was almost deafening. The lockdown was unusual, without any clear reason. There were no news of an impending storm, no reports of a runaway criminal, no hint of a looming threat. Yet, the school stood in lockdown, its inhabitants trapped within their own sanctuary, their fears escalating with each passing moment. With the school plunged into an ominous silence, a sense of unease permeated through the locked classrooms and darkened hallways. The ordinary school day had spiraled into a chilling ordeal, a haunting reminder of the fragility of normalcy, the unexpected lockdown turning the familiar into the frightful. Within the confines of their classrooms, they waited, unaware of the disturbing reality lurking outside. What was once a sanctuary of learning had become a fortress of suspense. The once lively hallways now echoed with an unsettling silence, a silence that seemed to carry within it an ominous whisper of unseen dread. The students, huddled together like young birds in a nest, could feel a chill creeping up their spines, as if the walls themselves were whispering tales of the unknown menace that had triggered the lockdown. Teachers, usually the beacon of calm and reason, were now just as fearful as their pupils. Their eyes darted nervously towards the windows, their lips tight with unspoken worries. The air was thick with tension, the kind that gnaws at your sanity inch by inch, second by second. Even the ticking of the classroom clock seemed to be a maddening countdown, each tick echoing the relentless march towards an unknown fate. Meanwhile, the outside world carried on, oblivious to the silent drama unfolding within the school. The sun moved across the sky, casting long, eerie shadows that danced across the empty corridors. Every creak, every rustle of paper seemed amplified, a stark reminder of the eerie quiet that had descended upon the school. Rumors began to circulate, whispers of shadowy figures and ominous sounds. Each unverified story seemed to feed into the growing fear, a fear that was as palpable as the cold, hard desk under their trembling hands. The unknown threat, whatever it was, had effectively turned the school into a petri dish of terror, allowing fear and anxiety to breed and multiply. As the hours ticked by, the school seemed to transform into a haunting labyrinth of fear and uncertainty. The unknown threat remained just that, unknown, its presence felt only in the chilling silence and the mounting dread. The classrooms, once filled with laughter and learning, were now holding their breath, caught in the grip of an unseen menace, waiting for the unknown to reveal itself. As the hours ticked by, the school seemed to transform into a haunting labyrinth of fear and uncertainty. Unseen and unheard, an insidious horror was making its way through the school. A shroud of dread enveloped the once familiar corridors. The hallowed halls of learning were now a labyrinth of fear, the unseen horror lurking in its shadows. The school, once filled with the echoes of laughter and learning, now echoed with chilling silence, broken only by the flickering of lights. They danced like ghostly apparitions, casting long, menacing shadows that seemed to reach out, clawing at the empty space. These sudden electrical glitches were more than just anomalies, they were the silent whispers of the unseen horror. And then, there were the sounds. Eerie, disembodied sounds that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. The faint rustling of papers, the creaking of aged wood, the distant echo of a child's laughter. All seemingly innocuous, yet imbued with a chilling undertone. They were not the usual sounds of an active school but the spectral symphony of an unseen horror. Accompanying these auditory hauntings were sudden, inexplicable drops in temperature. The once warm and inviting classrooms were now icy cold, as if the very air had been sucked of its warmth. The chilling cold was not just a physical sensation, it was a manifestation of the unseen horror, a spectral chill that seeped into the very bones of those who were unfortunate enough to experience it. The unseen horror was not just a presence, it was an experience. It was an insidious, creeping dread that clung to the walls and wafted through the corridors. It was the flickering lights, the eerie sounds, the sudden cold. It was the anticipation, the waiting, the not knowing. The school was no longer a sanctuary of learning but a chilling stage for an unfolding horror, a place where the unseen was felt, where the unheard was listened to, where the unimaginable was being imagined. The unseen horror had transformed the school, turning it into a haunting echo of what it once was. As the lockdown continued, the horrifying truth began to reveal itself. The quiet hum of the unseen terror, a constant, unnerving presence, only grew in intensity. It was a sound that seemed to vibrate through the very walls, the very air, a sound that was felt rather than heard. As the minutes ticked by, the dread that had been a mere whisper at first, turned into an all-consuming roar. The unseen horror, the cause of this sudden and unexpected lockdown, was no longer just an abstract fear. It was real as the cold, hard floor beneath their feet, as real as the deafening silence that had descended upon the once bustling school. What was this unseen terror? Was it a creature lurking in the shadows, a ghost from the past haunting the present, or perhaps something far more sinister and terrifying? The possibilities were endless, each more chilling than the last. The fear of the unknown, they say, is the greatest fear of all. In this moment, trapped within these walls, that statement had never been more true. The chilling reality of their situation had begun to sink in. The once familiar halls of their school, a place of comfort and routine, had now become a terrifying labyrinth. Each corner they turned, each door they opened, could reveal the horrifying truth. The laughter that once echoed through these halls had been replaced by a deafening silence, the vibrant energy replaced by an eerie stillness. But the most terrifying part was not the unseen terror, not the unknown threat. No, the most terrifying part was the realization that they were not alone. Somewhere within these walls, the unseen horror was lurking, waiting, watching. Every creak, every shadow, every unexpected sound was a reminder of its presence. The school, once a place of laughter and learning, now held a chilling secret within its walls. A secret that would forever change the lives of those trapped within. A secret that would forever taint the memory of this place. The school was no longer just a building. It was a living, breathing entity, a silent witness to the unseen horror that lurked within. The school, once a place of laughter and learning, now held a chilling secret within its walls. When the lockdown was finally lifted, the horror that had gripped the school remained a mystery. The eerie silence that had once filled the halls was replaced by a deafening buzz of unanswered questions and whispered theories. What had happened during those tense hours? No one knew for sure. The school, once a sanctuary for learning, was now a chilling reminder of the unknown terror that had lurked within its walls. The students, once carefree and jovial, were now marked by a shared experience that had forever transformed their youth into a haunting memory. The teachers, once pillars of guidance, were now grappling with their own fears, their confidence shaken by the inexplicable events. In the aftermath, the school was left with an unresolved mystery and a lingering fear that hovered like a gloomy cloud. As the students and teachers left the school that day, they carried with them a haunting question. What really happened during the lockdown?